Alright, so today we're going to learn how to do some basic stuff on Python. First, you're going to need an IDE or an integrated development environment. You can just download one off Google, like if you search up PyCharm Community Edition download, that's what I have right here. And just follow these steps and you'll be on the screen. So, what you want to do is click New Project. Just accept all the default settings and hit create for now. So this is a little bit of a confusing startup process to actually start a Python file. On Scratches and Consoles, you're going to want to right click it, click New Scratch File, and scroll down until you see the Python logo, and it should say Python. Now you have a code editor where you can type in code. The most basic function, and the first thing everyone does when they first start coding, is print hello world. Before you start, you're going to want to click this little stop sign error symbol, and instead of all problems, just click on syntax. That's going to tell you if your code has any problems, and it'll just ignore all the stuff that you don't need to know. So, this line, what does it mean? Print is basically saying whatever is inside of these two brackets right here, put it into the console. So when we say print hello world and we run the code using this arrow right here, you can see that in the console it says hello world. You can write whatever you want. You can write my name is Bob, and it'll print whatever you write in there. Now, you can print stuff like math. Every time you write text, you want to write it in between these quotation marks, either double quotes or single quotes. But with math, you don't have to do that. So if you say print 5 plus 5, it's going to print out 10. If you put it inside of quotation marks, it's just going to print the words 5 plus 5, or the symbols. So you can do that pretty much however you want. And the next most basic thing that everyone learns in Python is variables. So, what is a variable? A variable is basically a keyword that stores some information. So, let's create one right now. Let's say that my variable is called name and it's set equal to Bob. Remember, any text you want it to be inside of these quotation marks. So name equals Bob. This is the keyword right here, and this is the value that it's storing. So whenever you say something like print name, make sure to, when you're using variables, keep them outside of quotation marks. You want it to just say name, because if you were to put it in quotation marks, it would just print the word name. So if you want it to print whatever name means, it should print Bob. And we can see that down here it prints Bob. So let's try something else. Let's say that number equals 5 plus 5, right? And we know, because of basic logic, 5 plus 5 should equal 10. So that means a number should be 10. Let's see if that's true. Let's ask it to print the value of number. And you can see down here it says 10. So let's move on to one of the most basic things that you're going to be using in pretty much all of your code, called an if-else statement. An if-else statement basically just runs code if something is true. And if it's not true, or else, it runs another statement of code. So let's say if 5 plus 5 equals 10, and put a colon right here, it's going to indent. So anything inside that is indented right after the if statement is going to be printed if 5 plus 5 equals 10. So let's say print 10, right? And else, or otherwise, print no. So if 5 plus 5 equals 10, it's going to print the number 10. And I just made a critical mistake that you all should remember. Whenever you're using equal signs in an if statement like this, make sure it's a double equal sign. Otherwise, it's going to say if, and you're basically setting 5 plus 5 to be equal to 10. That's not what you want. To check if something is equal, use a double equal sign. So, if 5 plus 5 equals 10, print 10. Otherwise, print no. So, because we know 5 plus 5 is equal to 10, it's going to print 10. But, let's say if 5 plus 5 equals 11, print 10. 5 plus 5 doesn't equal 11, so it's going to print no. See? So we can do some pretty neat stuff. We can say name equals Bob, right? And we want our program, if Bob is the one that's knocking on the door, or if Bob is the one using the program, we want it to say, hello Bob. So let's make it say that. If name double equal sign, always remember that, Bob, then print hello Bob. Else print you are not Bob. And if we run that, it's going to say hello Bob, but let's change this to John. You are not Bob. You are John. Okay, so what if we want our user to input their name so that they can decide whether or not they're Bob? Well, there's a neat little function for that called input. Input, what is your name? And this is basically going to give you an opportunity to type it in. So it's going to give this prompt and you can answer it. But this is useless by itself. We need to give it a value. So let's say that we're going to declare this as a variable. This is going to be the value of name. Whatever this person puts inside of this text box is going to be the value of name. So let's run the code. What is your name? My name is Bob. It's not actually Bob. So it gave us an opportunity to type it in there. And one key thing that you're going to note, it's usually good practice to leave a space right after whatever you want them to input so that it doesn't feel like they're typing on the same line. So let's go back to our other if statement, right? If name equals Bob, print hello Bob. Else print you are not Bob. So let's run it. It asks us, what is your name? My name is Bob. So it says hello Bob. And let's say that our name is John this time. You are not Bob. So we can do a lot of cool stuff with this. We can, for example, create a little rock, paper, scissors game. Of course, it's not going to be that good because you're going to get the same thing every time. For now, we will learn how to randomize it later on. So for now, let's just say that user guess is input rock, paper, or scissors. So it's going to ask us to choose rock, paper, or scissors. And our computer guess will be scissors. So if user guess is rock, or you have to put it in quotation marks, rock, print you win. because rock beats scissors every time. Make sure to use the double equal sign. And you're going to learn a new thing here called elif. This is basically stating if this isn't true, try looking for this value. So let's say else if, elif is short for else if. So otherwise, if user guess is paper, print you lose. So it's basically saying if this isn't true, but this is true, then do this. And finally, we know that if it's not rock and it's not paper, it must be scissors. But what if the user doesn't type it in correctly? So, elif, and make sure to put this in quotation marks, elif user guess equals scissors, print it's a draw. And now, if our user didn't choose rock, paper, or scissors, else, like what if they put in the number 10 for some reason, we can print you have to pick pick between rock, paper, and scissors. So let's run this and see what happens. It's a really basic rock, paper, scissors game. Rock, paper, or scissors. So let's say I didn't know the computer is guessing scissors. I think it's guessing rock. So I'm going to say paper here. Paper. And it's going to say you lose because I printed paper instead of rock. So if I say rock, then I win. And if I say scissors, then it's a draw. Now what if I say the number 10 for some reason? You have to pick between rock, paper, and scissors. Thank you. I didn't know that. So now I know to pick between rock, paper, and scissors. So, you can do a lot of stuff with variables, inputs, and if-else statements. And my challenge for you until the next video is to build your own game, not rock, paper, scissors, but your own game using if statements, inputs, and variables. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.